Alright, welcome to this AUG Live tutorial video. Now this is my first time doing a YouTube Live event, so we'll see how this goes. But I thought it'd make sense to record this over YouTube Live because that's what I think makes the most sense to use for AUG Live. Now, before we get into what AUG Live is, I wanted to give a little bit of an introduction. My name is Tim Rodman, and I run the augforums.com website. And I'm coming to you today from San Diego, California. Normally I'm in Columbus, Ohio, but we're out here for the month visiting family. And I'm recording from my dad's workshop. So if I pan around here just to give you an idea where I'm at, this is a woodworking workshop. And it's got some other junk in here as well, like a bike and things like that. And then my setup is real simple. You'll notice I don't have very good lighting. I've got a baseball hat on to hide my receding hairline. And I do have a microphone. That's kind of fancy. If I look down here, I've got a microphone attached to a box of screws. Got a t-shirt on. I haven't shaved in a day or so. And I've got my plan for this session taped to a ladder. So that's what we've got going on. This is not the most professional thing, but I wanted to set the tone intentionally for a YouTube Live event. Or a YouTube Live event, using it for an AUG Live event. Because the idea here is for any of you watching to be able to do one of these and host an AUG Live event. Now we'll get into more of that later. But I want to do a sample introduction here. Just introduce myself a little bit, show you the room I'm in, tell a little bit about what's going on. This reason I wanted to do it from this workshop is my dad passed away just a few months ago. He had a multi-year battle with dementia, although officially he passed away from the COVID-19 virus. It got a number of people in the memory care facility he was at. So it's been really nice for me out here last few weeks here in San Diego. I've just been working out of the workshop here and thought this would be a nice place to record from. I've got a wife and 2 kids who came along with me for the trip. We drove out from Ohio across old Route 66 from Ohio through Indiana, through Illinois, Missouri, and through Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona. We stopped off at an Airbnb, met my mom and sister for about a week in Phoenix, and then we all came here to San Diego. So I've got a daughter going into 3rd grade, a son going into 1st grade, and we're still waiting to see what's going to happen with school here in the fall. So that's a little bit about myself and what I've got going on. That took less than 4 minutes. I've got my official timer right here, and I'll come back more later about why I want to do a little intro. The thought is that anyone who's hosting an AUG Live event could give a little intro, tell about their company, whatever they want to tell about. I do work for a VAR called Action Associates out of Ohio, but I run the AUG Forums website completely as a side project. And it's really mostly been a hobby, although recently we've got some sponsors, got a podcast going on, and still working on officially launching a first online training course. And then of course we got the forums going on, which this AUG Live thing is a part of the forums. So a little bit about myself and a little bit of a sample for how you too can do a very low budget introduction with not great equipment. I even have this fancy small little mic, but you could use the onboard mic on your computer. That would work just fine as well. I'm using the webcam on my laptop to do this. And so with that, I think that's it for our intro. If I was to check that off of my list. Next thing is, of course, the main part, and that is, well, what is AUG Live? Now, the idea of AUG Live is to interact on the forums the same way that we normally do. Nothing special. We'll still just type and communicate in the forums the way we normally do. The only difference is that we'll do it in real time. So, I think one of the nice things about the forums is that you can log in at any time and post something. I tend to log in at night. Some weeks I don't even log in at all. When I can, I log in. I'll show you later how I normally do it. A lot of times I use my phone. And that's what's nice about it. You can go in at any time. But what's not nice about it, sometimes you'll post something and you won't get a response for weeks. So the idea of AUG Live is to have a dedicated day and time. I'm thinking just an hour, where periodically anyone who wants to jump on, they know that it's coming, and then we do a little YouTube live event. Whoever's hosting it, doesn't have to be me, just as a way to moderate the time. Do a little intro like I just did, and then get right into encouraging everyone to communicate via the regular forums. And then you could just wrap it up at the end with a little outro. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. But that way you've got a person who's on the forums who gets the chance to introduce themselves, and then they also get to act as a moderator. Maybe they'll chime in 20 minutes into it and make some comments about what they're seeing, or maybe someone's got a question that the whole group could respond to. So the idea is not a big giant Zoom call. There's a lot of that going on right now, which has its own benefit. The idea is to communicate the same way we normally do, just do it in the forums. And you've also got on a YouTube Live, which I'm recording right now, a comments area where you can do some commenting, chit chat on YouTube Live if you like, or you can just go over to the forums to do that. So that's it. It's really nothing more than communicating on the forums, but doing it in real time. The next bullet point we have here is the YouTube Live event. And let's see if I can figure out how to do this. I'm going to try sharing my display and then hide my webcam. Now you're probably getting one of those weird window on top of window on top of window things, but hopefully you can see up on the top. I'm using a program called OBS. Maybe you can even see it up here. And it's just a way that you broadcast out to YouTube Live. So if anyone's interested in doing this, I can show you how to set this up in your computer, and then I'll broadcast it out to everyone, let them know the day and time that you're going to be doing your event, and people can join and participate. The next thing I've got, let me switch back to my web camera here. Next thing I've got up on the ladder is private sub-communities. So I do have a page at augforums.com/live for AUG Live, but I don't see any reason why you couldn't have a smaller group of people participating on the forums, especially when it comes to people in your area. Like, a lot of people on the forums are actually using the MYOB product down in Australia. So if someone down under wants to host an event, we don't even have to push it out to everyone on the forums. You could just let people know word of mouth, or I could still push it out. You could make it a more private thing if you want, and we could even create a separate landing page on augforums.com for you. So if you'd like to have a more private way of interacting on the forums and getting people on at the same day, same time, we could do that as well. So then these next two things, I want to switch over to my desktop and give my idea for how AUG Live could work and how I actually monitor the forums. It works well for me, so I wanted to show it to you and see if it's something that you think would work well in a live real-time type of setting. So let's switch back to my display here, and we'll come over to the forums. So hopefully you're seeing the forums now. Now before I show you the way that I like to monitor things, let me show you just some of the regular forum things that you can use. So here I am on the main forums page. If I scroll down, you'll see actually this was just changed in the last week or so. It used to list all the forums individually on this home page, but you had to pick the individual forum that you wanted. So the way it works now is you can see it's sorted with the newest posts on the top. Now there are 3 pinned posts, so you got to scroll down below those, and here I can see 9 hours ago, 10 hours ago, 12 hours ago. But what's nice is I'm now seeing posts across all of the forums. And if I hover over this icon, I can see this post was in the Acumatica Dashboards forum. And this one down here was in the Import Scenarios forum. Of course, there's my discussion topic title. And then over here I can see how many replies, how many views. So if we look at this one here, it's got a lot of views. And I can hover over, I can see who created the discussion topic and then who last replied to the discussion topic. So of course this is one way you can just pop in and take a look, and then if I scroll way down to the bottom, you'll see there's quite a few discussion topics that are displayed by default. And if I come down here and click on load more topics, it'll keep going. It'll load another batch, and I can keep scrolling down to see what I've missed. And then another thing that happens if I scroll back up here, we can see that there's this new icon. So like controlling dashboards with the business date. If I click on this and then I go back, you'll see that that new icon that was displayed there is gone because I've clicked on it, I've looked at it, and now it's gone. Now that works well, I think, for a lot of people. For me though, what I don't like about it is I personally like to take a look at every post on the forum. At least take a look at it and maybe respond, maybe not. And a lot of times when I pop into something, I might scroll down and realize, oh, this is not a quick one, so I'm not going to have time for it, or I get interrupted. And really I want a way to unread it and make it pop back up on my list. So I've got another way of doing that, which I'll show you in a couple minutes here. So this is one way though. I can look at the most recent stuff and chime in on the recent activity. Another thing you can do is you can subscribe. So if I were to go back into this post and scroll down to the bottom, when you add a reply, this subscribe to this topic checkbox is checked by default. So by default, if you don't uncheck this, you will get an email reply when someone responds on this discussion topic, because you chimed in and checked this box. So you're subscribed to the topic. Now if I go back here, not only will you get an email, but the notification will also show up here in this notifications area. So I can see I've got 100 notifications of replies that I haven't taken a look at yet. You can manage your notifications up in My Info, My Notifications. So if you go in here, you can see if I scroll down, these are all the individual discussion topics that I've subscribed to. So I might want to unsubscribe from some of them. Or you can come up here and you can subscribe to an entire forum. And when you do that, actually you can come up on the very top, you could subscribe to everything across all the forums. And when you do that, you have two options, either only new topics or new topics and posts. So someone might respond to an old topic, you'd still get a notification in this case. And then you get the same options down here on a forum by forum level. You might only care about certain forums that you want to subscribe to. Now I used to use this, but my email inbox got flooded and it just wasn't working for me anymore. So I don't personally use it anymore, but you do have that option out there. So I wanted to show you those couple of options, how you can monitor what's going on in the forums. And again, back on the front there, this is a recent change where you're seeing activity across all the forums. I like it better personally. I think it makes more sense to be able to see everything, and then even when you go in and add a new topic, you click add topic first and then you select the forum that you're adding your topic to. Alright, so my main goal of doing this video is that I wanted to show you what I call the unseen list. And that is, if I flip back to my webcam, that is the last bullet point here, the unseen list. This is how I monitor the forums and how I'm thinking would make sense to do a real-time interaction event. That's my idea, but we want to see how it works for everyone. So let's go ahead and flip back to my screen, and we'll go to augforums.com/live. Now when you go here, you'll see this YouTube live video that I'm doing right now, which also gets archived on YouTube so you can reference it later. I'm going to embed that video on this page. So when you go here, you should see the video that you're watching now. But you'll also see on here what I'm calling the unseen list. And I've got some information down here on what the unseen list is. First of all, it's going to show you all posts on the forums where both of these two things are true. You did not create the most recent post on the discussion topic, and you did not like the most recent post on the discussion topic. So you have two ways to quote see a discussion topic. Either like the most recent reply or add a reply, so you are the most recent reply. And I'll show you how that works. Then we'll also take a look at some of the parameters that you can set on the unseen list. And then on the bottom here, I just put a little widget showing the online members. Now I was about to record this last night, but I got too tired and decided to go to bed instead. There were actually more than just me in the forum, so just me by myself tonight. But I've got that little widget on the bottom here. So the idea is you would come here to augforums.com/live for an AUG live event, and you would use the unseen list during that event. So let's take a look at how this works. If I click on this, it opens a new tab, and in the very top it is a big long URL. Now, because I was logged in to the AUG forums back here, and I can know that because I see my info in the upper right and a log out button. Because I was logged in, it knew who I was. So the first thing it did, this is actually the location of the unseen list, and there's nothing private about it. Anyone could go to this URL and see the unseen list for any person, because the first parameter is just the username. So you could actually see anyone's unseen list. It used my username because I was logged in when I clicked on it, but I could change this to any username and I'd be able to see someone else's unseen list. The second thing it did is it used today's date for the post created since parameter. So it's only going to show you posts that have been created since whatever date you put here. Now, this isn't quite perfect the way it works because it's actually looking at today's date in Universal Coordinated Time, which is, I think, somewhere like London time zone. GMT, UTC, I don't really understand the difference, but it's somewhere around the London time zone. So because right now I'm actually in California, I'm UTC -7. You add 7 hours to that, and it's actually July 17th in UTC time zone. So that's why this is showing up as July 17th. And it looks like there haven't been any posts on the forums that have been created on July 17th in the London time zone. So in this case, it didn't work out that great, so I could just back this up one day to the 16th, and now you can see I've got a bunch of posts available. The next thing is the display of the date. So this is got a UTC offset, and you can see here like these posts were made on July 15th and July 16th according to whatever I put here. By default this is Eastern time, but I could back this up when I'm in California to UTC -7. Now this might not be that useful because it's not really displaying a time, just a date, but we do have that variable here. And then the last one is it's highlighting posts that are older than 7 days, those will be white. So like if I made this July 1st, I can see posts that are in white, and then eventually they go gray once I get within 7 days if I put a 7 up here. And the reason I did that is I use this to make sure I'm seeing all posts. So if I did this like back since 2000, for example, since the beginning of time, my unseen list actually has 118 things on there. And I did the highlighting just because I wanted to quickly scroll through and get an idea, well, how much stuff is in the last week and how much stuff is before a week ago. So that's the reason for this. So that's your parameters up on the top. And if I set this back to July 17th, let's see, I need to get my date right. There we go. And let's see, I'm sorry, this was the 16th. So these are all the posts that have happened within the last day according to UTC time. And the idea of an AUG live event is that you'd be responding to recent posts. So if I look down here, I've only got 8, and then if people start posting, this list will grow a little bit, so I'd only have 8 things to clear off before I'm only seeing stuff that's been posted during an AUG live event. So let's take a look at how I clear something off this list. Here's this first post up on here, System Emails in Acumatica. I can click in here, and if I scroll down to the bottom and I look for the most recent post, so it takes me actually to the most recent post, and then I can scroll up. If I go down to the bottom to the most recent post, I can like it. If I do that and I go back to this list here and refresh it, you'll see the System Emails in Acumatica post is gone. And now there's only 7 things left on my unseen list. I can come back here though and unlike it, and then go back and refresh this list, and then it reappears. The other thing I can do is I can respond to it. So maybe I come in here, and I already took a look at this one earlier, and I know there's a feedback item about email. So I'm just going to go here and respond with, this is my contribution to the discussion topic. So I'll reply, and then come back here, refresh, and that also takes it off my list. So if I either like the most recent reply or respond and I am the most recent reply, it drops off the list. Now what's nice about this is this date up here is actually the date of the latest post on the discussion topic. So if someone else were to chime in 2 minutes later on the same discussion topic, it's going to now reappear on the list, but it's going to drop to the bottom of the list. So I really like this when I'm taking a look at everything on the forums, because I don't like a list that's constantly changing on me. What's on the top of my list will always be on the top of my list until I address it by either liking the most recent post or adding the most recent post. But then if someone else responds, then it will appear on my list again, but appropriately further down the list based on the latest reply. So this works really well for me, the way things are sorted, the way I can clear something off the list consciously, not just by clicking on it, but by either liking it or replying to it. And it's a really nice way, for me at least, to manage the forums. And I'm thinking it would be a nice way to do in an AUG live event. That you could just use this, you keep refreshing it, and you could use this to keep track of everything that's happening during that hour when we're all logged in together, and being able to just make sure you catch everything. And I think there's also a nice side benefit of this, and that is if you don't have anything to add to the discussion topic, I think most of the time the reason is because the most recent reply was a good reply. So by liking the most recent reply, not only are you getting it off of your list, your unseen list, but you're also liking good replies. I think that's a nice side benefit of this. So I think it works well, and I think it would work well in a live setting as well. Now, one last comment on that. If I move this over, let's go ahead and minimize this. I just want to point out that this is not a very flashy list, and that's intentional because I wanted to make sure that it also looked nice on a phone. And I personally do this a decent amount of the time when my kids are taking a shower before going to bed at night. I'll pop this up on my phone and I'll scan through a couple of the top ones, and maybe there's some things that I have nothing to add to and I just want to like the most recent reply. It's a way to take a little crack at my list and maybe knock off a couple of items just doing it on my phone. So it was important to me for this to look nice on your phone. Hopefully it looks nice on your phone as well. Alright, well, let's come back here to our webcam. And that's basically it. We got through our list here on the ladder, and maybe one of you would like to do one of these in the future. Now, this is just a video recording to give an introduction to my idea for AUG Live. I still would like to schedule an actual date and time to do a little 5-minute intro like I did in the beginning here, and then basically I would just kick it off and say, alright, let's start communicating in the forums. And then we go ahead and just start typing in the forums. I might come back 20 minutes into it just to do a quick time check, and then I'd come in at the end just to wrap it up, thank everyone for their participation. But it would not be a big speech. It would just be me moderating the time and giving us a clear start and a clear end. And I think it's something that anyone could do via a YouTube live event like I'm doing here. So let me know what you think. I think one last thing that I really should do here, I'm kind of thinking about this on the fly. I think what we should do is we should pop over to the forums, and let's do this. Let's add a new topic, and we'll put this in the everything else forum. We'll call this AUG Live Feedback. You can use this discussion topic for feedback on AUG Live events. I'll go ahead and make that sticky. Actually, I won't make it sticky quite yet. Let's post that, and then I'll drop this link over here on the AUG Live page. Let's do it up here. Alright, so you should see that after you've taken a look at this video. Go ahead and drop in and add some feedback to that discussion topic. Let me know what you think. I guess you didn't see any of that, so let me show that to you now. I just added a link right here. AUG Live Feedback. Alright. I've got some things to learn here on doing a YouTube live broadcast, but hopefully that gives you the flavor for this. Let me know what you think, and we'll set a date and time for doing our first 1 hour of real-time communication here on augforums.com. Thanks for watching, and take care.